Welcome to Laughter for All. It's the podcast with Comedian Nazareth.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Laughter for All podcast. I am Comedian Nazareth, and thank you for joining me again. We've been off for a while. Yes, we've been off, and I've been gone, and it's so good to be back with you guys. I know you feel like something is missing when you're gone, but I was out of the country for 2 weeks with the family. And then before that, I was in Orlando doing a big conference at the Gaylord what do you call it, resort. And before that, the week before, I was doing shows. So it's so good to be back. Just to update you, tomorrow I'm doing a pastor's conference thing tomorrow in San Diego. And then this Sunday, I'll be back in Oceanside at Next Chapter Church doing the morning services. And the big event on the 22nd, July 22nd, we already have 1,450 tickets sold. They're free tickets. So, but we keep track. So we still have about 300 tickets left to fill up the theater. So if you want to get your free tickets, go to laughterforall.org. Laughterforall.org. Check on the July 22nd event, and you'll be able to get free tickets. Yes, you can donate. It's not required, but they're free, and we make them free because we want everyone to be able to come and laugh. We want everyone to be able to hear the good news of Jesus Christ after 2 hours of laughter. And I'm bringing with me comedian Sizzle C. He's going to MC and host the show. There's also Michael Rayner, who has millions of followers and likes on TikTok and Instagram. He's a variety act. He's been on the Tonight Show, Letterman, everything. He's going to be with us. Also, comedian Gilbert Escovel, hilarious comedian. He's going to be with me. And then I'll be doing about 45 minutes of comedy and then give the good news. So, and also we have Christian Anthony Band going to open the show with some music. So it's going to be a great night. Bring your family. Come and enjoy it. It's free. I took care of it because I want you to enjoy laughter because it's important, but also I want you to have a place where you can invite your friends and neighbors who would not come to church with you to come to this event, be able to laugh and be able to enjoy themselves. And at the same time, they get to hear the good news. We do this in California. That's my commitment to California. And we do about between, during COVID, we didn't do anything, 1 to 7 shows a year. We're doing 4 shows this year. So if that's something you're interested as a Christian who believe in reaching people for Christ, you go, wow, comedy is a great arena to do that, a great tool. Then you know what? Email me, contact me at info@NazarethUSA or info@laughterforall.org, and I will talk to you. If that's something you want to partner with us, that would be awesome. It's much needed. There's 2 types of people. There's people who complain about California, and there's people who want to do something about it. And I truly believe God put us in California to do something about it. If you're from other state and you go, man, California is doing down the drain, you can invest in Laughter for All because you know what? It's coming to you. As California goes, so the nation. Hopefully not, because a lot of good people left to Dallas and Nashville, and hopefully it will balance out. Anyway, that's not an issue. I'm excited to bring this couple. I love them. I've loved them for 20 some years, ever since they hired me. Well, not because they hired me, but they had something effective. We went to the Grand Resort in Mackinac Island, where there's no cars, just buggies and horses. And they rented the entire hotel and they put a marriage conference. And man, it was great. I mean, to find a couple that both are funny, both are hilariously funny, and both are just spewing wisdom into marriages, just a perfect event. And every couple that left that grand resort that day was or that weekend were just, they were hugging and kissing after the show. But anyway, let me officially introduce them. Jay and Laura Laffoon. They're regular people living real lives and experiencing the ups and downs of genuine marriage. They call them the marriage edutainer, educators and trainers. a mix of education and entertainment. They've been happily married for over 35 years, and they're not afraid to put their journey on display. Their mission to help busy couples like you stay happily married for life. They're fearlessly open about their experience and unravel the beautiful complexity of intimate relationship. See, we need that in the Christian life, because every time you meet someone, they go, "Oh, how is your marriage? Oh, it's doing great. Everything's perfect." You try to cover up for them to be intimate about it and open about it. That's great. They firmly believe that all married couples go through similar struggles and joys along the way. That's why they're here to bring humor, transparency, and entertainment in this podcast, giving you the permission to laugh with each other and the courage to keep growing together. Please welcome my friends, Jay and Laura. Hello.
Hi, Nazareth.
Hi there.
How you
Thank
doing?
you so much. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. It's so good. You guys are really, you know what? You guys say wise stuff. You just like there's no fluff in it. And so what I want to know before we start, I know you guys are in Michigan right now. It's 9:30. I appreciate your time. When did this hit you to go, wait a minute, our marriage is doing good or it's horrible? Let's go tell people about it and help them out. When did that start?
We were in youth ministry. We were doing youth ministry together, and we were just got tired of youth. That's all there was to it. No, just kidding.
No, he's not.
Parents were asking us to do parenting seminars. They were like, "You get our kids. You understand youth. Help us parent better." And so we started looking at parenting issues, and we realized that they're really marriage issues manifest with the kids. So you've got mom and dad aren't on the same page. They're struggling. And the kids, the little demons that they are, they're going to take advantage of this. And so we said, let's attack the marriage issues first, and then the parenting issues will come. And so we started researching and looking into marriage and marriage issues, and found that we had faced a lot of the same struggles that other couples do. And so we just started saying, well, let's tell our story, and our story will inspire others because they'll realize they're not alone.
Well,
So that was how it happened.
What is your story? What is
Our story?
When you started, what was the story?
We actually July 4th of this year, we met 39 years ago on a blind date.
Oh.
One of my best friends had married someone that Jay knew, and we were in Atlanta, Georgia, and they wanted to get him out of their apartment because he was living with them.
I had gone to work for my friend.
Yeah. And they were headed to a Braves game, and they said, "Hey, we've got the perfect guy." My friend said, "Hey, I've got the perfect guy for you." And we went to the Braves game, and then I invited him to go play putt-putt a couple nights later. Oh, no. First, we got to hear about this.
Okay. So we're at the Braves game, all right? And it was wonderful. We had great conversation. Baseball is a wonderful thing to go and enjoy and still have conversation. And so this was a blind date. That was July 4th. She had moved. We had both graduated college. She had moved back with her mom for the summer. And the next morning after our blind date, she said, "Mom, I'm going to marry that man."
Wow.
After one date. That's right. And over the next 10 days, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. She managed for her path and my path to cross 8 of the next 10 days.
By coincidence.
Yes, there were 2 million people living in Atlanta at the time. We have a word for that now. It's called stalking. You know what I'm saying?
She was stalking you. Okay.
She was. But 10 days after our blind date, I knew she was the one. And so I asked her to marry me. And she said, "What took you so long?" And that was 39 years ago.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Wow. Now Jay Laffoon, your last name is Lebanese, right?
No, actually French.
French.
Yes.
Maybe it's French Lebanese.
It could be French Lebanese. Yes.
Yeah, because my brother, he's a Greek Orthodox Christian, and he goes to a church in Irvine, California, and their priest is called Michael Laffoon.
Yes.
Lebanese, yeah. So that's how but you have a kind of like East Massachusetts accent, Jay?
Nah, this is Michigan.
Oh, it's Michigan.
Here
I'm
in
sorry.
Michigan, we drive our car to the bar. That's what it is. It's like Chicago.
How about you, Laura? Where did you grow up?
I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. So when I moved up here, I had to develop a different accent than I grew up with, because these people up here were relentless with my Southern accent. So I kind of adapted it. It still comes out at times when I'm with my family, it'll come out a little bit, or if I hear another Southerner talk, it'll come. Or we go do our date night shows down in the South. Then I play it up on stage so they know I'm.
And if I actually say the word y'all, I get ridiculed by my wife. Like, you're not a Southerner.
He doesn't know how to say it right.
Now, what I've always told people the first year of marriage is the hardest year because you're kind of establishing your territory. Like you go to your recliner and you wanna, as a male, you just leave your urine smell because that's your territory. Then she tells you this is how you do it and what you do. Is that true? Is it true the first year of marriage? Is it the hardest?
I think it's a personality thing. I do think for some people it is because they're adjusting to meeting the needs of another person. I'm not using this as a cop out, but my mom, the best marriage advice she gave me was she said, marry someone who loves Jesus more than she loves you. And I was fortunate enough to do that. And so Laura has had the patience of the good Lord with me over the years. And I've been blessed. Don't get me wrong, we have had so many ups and downs. We've had so many trials, so many troubles. But our first year was kind of a blur because we were still getting to know each other. I mean, we'd only,
we met on July 4th and we got married that December. So it was pretty quick.
Yeah. So that we were still, googly eyed for the longest time after we got married because we hadn't known each other very long. We were both out of college. We both knew we wanted to minister with our spouse. And quite frankly, we were both horny, so that helped. Say that almighty hormone was.
But seriously, there is statistics out there that say year 1, year 7, year 14, they go in sevens, and so the 7-year itch isn't it's a phrase that they used to say, but it's a real thing, and usually it's because children have come into the picture, and then by year 14, which is another 7 years, those children have become adolescents, teenagers. And then 21, they're moving on, they're moving out of the house. So there's all these life changes that happen about every 7 years.
You know what I noticed? I mean, just my friends, my kids, my daughter's 22 and my son's 24, 25. And right now, all their friends are getting married at 20, 21, 22. Is this because what Jay just said earlier? Is this part of it that they don't want to sin and they want to have sex, so they get married? Is this healthy? Is this right? What do you think?
That might be true with a Christian young adult. I think non-Christian young adults aren't getting married.
Right.
They're living together. They're cohabitating. Those are statistics as far as more and more marriages are happening in their early 30s and mid 30s as they are to the young 20s. But I would say probably with young Christian young adults that they probably are getting married so they don't sin. But it would be naive of us to think that they may not have already.
Right.
Oh,
so our son and his wife came to us between their junior and senior year of college, and they said, we love each other. We know we're going to get married. I've given her the ring. We just can't decide, should we get married the summer between our junior and senior year, or should we wait till after our senior year? And I just, truth is truth. I spoke it to him, and I just said, well, here's the deal. If you get married between your junior and senior year, you will most likely have financial struggles because you're in college still. If you wait and get married after your senior year, you will have sexual struggles. So you're going to have struggles one way or the other. You need to choose which ones you want. And my son was like, I'll eat ramen. We're getting married. But what was interesting is this. When they got married, they emancipated themselves from us and from her parents because they were now married. And so they got more financial aid to go their senior year.
They ended up being better off financially than they.
Now they weren't well off, but they were better off than they thought they were going to be. So that was kind of a blessing. And I do think for some people, no matter what the age, when you know when you know. If you've dated and if you've been observant of members of the opposite sex, what is going to work with you and what you are attracted to and vice versa. So
Right. And I just want to say there's 270 people right now watching live. And I just want to say we are open. If you have any questions you can ask while we're doing this, they probably Jay and Laura will open to answer it. And no better person to answer it though.
and if we don't know it, we'll make it up.
Yeah, we'll make it up. Now, what makes Jay, what give you that wisdom to be like when you got married and it was just like right away you got into youth ministry and then you guys went into the marriage, speaking to parents about and looking into your marriage. What do you think gave you the wisdom? Was it the troubles in the marriage or was it the joys of marriage? What was does that make sense? Like
Yes.
what got you to become experts into this?
I think both Laura and myself had great role models. They weren't perfect by far. I mean, and their warts, they would wear their warts proudly. They would wear their scars proudly, but they were committed to each other. And again, the advice my mom gave me, I'm 16 years old. My parents are going through a hard time. I know it. My sister knows it. Everybody knows it, that they're struggling. And I'm help. This is how much, I was concerned for my parents. I volunteered to help do dishes with my mother. Okay. At 16. All right. So, and I just said, Mom, are you and Dad going to get a divorce? And she took the dish rag and she just whacked me across the face with the dish rag. And she said, don't ever think that. And I said, why? And she said, because your dad loves Jesus more than he loves me. And his goal is to serve the Lord. We'll get through this. But, we are going to have struggles and trials. Laura's dad was sick her entire life. 4 heart attacks, 3 strokes. Diabetic, polio.
He had everything.
And her mom was, in my estimation, one of the best examples of honoring the marriage vow in sickness and in health, because she stood by Sonny through sickness after sickness after sickness. And so that was a great model for Laura. And that was the start of it, clearly. I think then we were so working with youth and seeing so many troubles in kids' parents. And here's the cause of it. We would, really drill down to what's the cause of the problem, that gave us a quicker wisdom maybe than normal. But it has not kept us from our share of problems. I mean, when we got married, Laura did not understand the word budget. She thought it was a curse word, and so
money was for spending.
I'll join you. I'm still in that boat.
So we struggled with money, and we talk to people all the time about the big 3 in marriage.
Okay, what are they?
Oh, okay, Lebanese. All right, that you'll conflict about.
Oh wait,
that's money, sex, and family. Those are the big 3, and you wrap all of that up in the fact that men and women communicate differently, and things can explode quickly in marriage.
Let me ask you this, and you get married, and just like you come as a husband with the ego, with like, okay, I'm gonna take care of her. I love her. I do that, and slowly you start noticing that as the years go by, your spouse starts looking at you as like you don't know what you're talking about. She went like, she goes from wow, you're amazing, you know everything, to let's ask someone else. I don't think you know what you're talking about. How do you deal with that in marriage?
Nazareth, it's called menopause. That's what happens.
Okay.
Yes, menopause has me longing for the good old days of PMS. I'm telling you that much, right? But no, it's true, because I vividly remembered when we first got married, Laura would laugh at everything I would say. I could say asparagus, and she would laugh. She would giggle. And I don't remember when it was, but I said at some point, I said, honey, when did I go from amusing to annoying? When was that?
At the altar.
And it was at the altar that late.
I do think, though, I mean, I was joking, sort of, saying menopause, but I guess it's probably been, it was right before COVID hit. We were traveling for our date nights, and we were in a hotel room, and I was bossing him around, which has never happened in our married life.
But you know this, Nazareth. the only way you can survive on the road is to have certain routines.
Yeah.
You know, certain routines when you get into the plane, certain routines when you get off the plane, certain routines when you get to the hotel room.
So for some reason, and I was being serious, I never bossed him around. He always bossed me around. Always told me what to do, how to do it, blah, 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 blah. And I just did it, you know, or I did it my own way and just didn't say anything. And, but this one particular time we were in the hotel room and I was just bossing him around like crazy. And he goes, look, there's only room for one Jay LaFoon in this family, and it's not you. And I said, well, get used to it, because I'm now telling you what to do. And so really, you know, as you go through different phases of life and you go through different situations, and, you know, the kids grow up and get out of the house, and I'm not consumed with the children anymore. Now I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I do know some things. I could tell you a few things that might change your life. And
are you enjoying yourself now after the kids has left as you did before you had your children?
Yes, Jesus, thank you.
You know, our philosophy, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, it's just what we chose, what we thought we were supposed to do, was to prepare our kids to leave. And knowing that we're preparing them to leave, a side effect of that was we knew we had to stay together, and that we had to not only stay in love, but stay in like and pursue stuff that we enjoyed together.
Early in our marriage, we made a commitment that divorce was never a part of the equation. It wasn't even a word we were going to use,
entertain,
speak, anything. So we knew
murder, yes. Divorce, no.
Divorce, no.
So yes, it was stick together and figure it out.
So when the kids left, it was an adjustment. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was an adjustment, you know, because our office is in our home, and Naked Tuesdays became a regular thing. That was wonderful at the office.
Naked Tuesday. Tell me more.
Yes. Well, only one of us.
I know we have tacos on Tuesday here in California.
It's not me. So there you go.
But no, we had some adjusting to do, but we also knew that we are each other's biggest fan. We're each other's best friend. You know, don't tell my golfing buddies, but I'd rather golf with my wife than with my buddies, simply because she is my best friend. And so that's helped the empty nest go a little bit better. How about you?
I think I still have one vulture left in the nest.
Okay.
And we still have to chew the food and just drop it in her mouth. And that's keeping us, you know, because I started later and we had 7-year gap between our second child and the third one. So we still feel young to have it. And we're still, you know, there's always Maha, my wife, and she's an amazing mom. And I know she's a stay-home mom, which means she works 120 hours a week with the kids. And I was the one, I think our marriage, and that's where, you know, it's different for you guys, because I traveled. And when you travel and you come home, you're so excited to see your spouse again. And when I met my wife, when I met Maha, the day I saw her, I asked her to marry me. And I went to the Gaza Strip. I wasn't planning. I was doing business for my dad. Saw her, asked her to marry me that day. And then 5 days later, we're engaged. And then I came back to the States. And for a year, we talked on the phone. Mm-hmm. And that became our way of communicating. Is like we're always on the phone talking to each other. So when I traveled a lot, I found out that, you know, when I come home, it's so exciting to be back home with them. But you said something earlier that was very interesting, because we just came from Europe, and thank you, Points, American Airlines, and Marriott, we're able to go to France, Spain, and Italy with the points. But I'm the guy that came out of the plane. Okay, let's get to the rental car. Let's get the rental car. Let's get to the hotel. And they're like, relax, we're not working. But you're right. You established some routines, and it became frustrating for them, for me to be able to try to be on the spot. Like, let's go, let's do this. So what's your biggest challenge being on the road together? I mean, sometimes, like, let's say Jay is like, I'm excited, we're going to speak right now in an hour, we're going to go, and there's thousands of couples we're going to speak to, and maybe Laura is in a whole different mood. How do you guys fight? Did you ever fight right before to go on stage?
Oh yeah. We were in Fort Wayne, Indiana, We were doing a conference, one of our Celebrate Your Marriage conferences, and I don't remember what we were fighting about beforehand, but we stepped up to do our sound check, and something wasn't going right
with the technology.
And I don't remember.
She was upset at the sound man.
I was upset at the sound man because I didn't think he
wasn't ready. You know, I'm a prima donna. You know how that is.
Oh, police!
He wasn't ready, and he clearly wasn't. And you know, the show's starting in a short while, and so she's kind of spewing to me how she's not happy with the sound guy. And I think I said, you know, never.
You think you said? You did say.
No, I said just relax.
Ooh.
And you never tell your wife to just relax.
Oh,
you just don't, because if they're going to be upset, they're going to be upset. And she said,
so we started arguing.
So we're on stage, okay? I just said relax, and she said relax. You're going to see relax. I'm going to let you do this show by yourself. And without missing a beat, I said, fine, it'll be better that way.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, yeah. Oh,
I took my mic off and left the auditorium.
You did?
We had a hospitality suite that was attached to our bedroom, and it was where the staff can come in and get, you know, snacks and drinks and stuff. And we went to the hospitality suite, and we could not have been on more opposite ends of the couch. I mean, she's hugging this side, I'm hugging this side of the couch, and we've got golf or something on TV, just something benign on TV. And our comedian, who you know very well, Mike Williams, he walked into the room. He opened the door. He took one look at us and he went, "See you later." And he just shut the door because the tension was palpable.
And now it's kind of become a joke. Before, for some reason, I mean, I know why. It's the enemy attacking. But before a date night weekend or before one of our conferences, we'll have some big blow up fight. And now we just laugh when it's over. We look at each other and go, "Well, it's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a great weekend of ministry." Because that is kind of the way it's worked out. But yeah, when we travel, the challenge is he gets a very high energy. He's a very high energy person. I'm much more even keeled. And so he's like, we got to go, we got to do, we got to, and I'm just like, whoosh, let's just breathe. Let's just, let's walk through the airport, not run through the airport. And then when we get to a venue, if everything's not just, working, boop, 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 he gets all antsy and anxious. And I'm just like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So that really is the only challenge,
who you guys
energy wise that we have.
Okay, I have a question from Alan Goodwin. It's good. Well, I'll read this comment first. Naz and Maha are great family role models. Thank you, Alan. Okay, have the two of you ever stopped communicating? The couples that keep talking in good and challenging times seem to have lasting positive relationship. So have you ever stopped communicating where you felt, you know what, it's useless?
I don't think we have. Now, we communicate very differently, especially when we're in disagreement. Jay is he's more of a...
I just do this. I just smile.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That's annoying. I'm talking about how he just clams up. He doesn't always say exactly what he's thinking. When we're in the middle of a disagreement, he doesn't say too much. And I just keep going. Like I'm like that little chihuahua that's like... And then he pulls out the smile, and then it becomes, like I want to throw a grenade at him. But it really is. We express our emotions differently, but we don't ever stop communicating. And we might take a break. We might walk away from it for 5 or 10 minutes, but we always come back to it because you've always got to come back to it. You have to come back and talk about it because this person is right. If you stop talking and you stop communicating, the number one indicator of divorce is apathy. It's you just don't care. And so you quit talking, you quit communicating. You may argue a lot, you may bicker a lot, but that shows that you still care about the relationship and about the marriage.
So that being said, in our coaching program, one of the things that we coach is that proper communication doesn't have to be perfect communication. And so take 15 minutes a day of uninterrupted conversation. It may be silly. It may be about, aren't the flowers in our garden looking great this time of year? But set aside that time, make an appointment like you would for anything else, be it first thing in the morning, after dinner, late at night. And when I say uninterrupted, I mean no screens.
No phone. No screen.
15 minutes. It's 15 minutes. But you will be amazed what that does for your marriage, because then you'll end up not talking just about some of the flowers in the garden or the lawn needs mowed. You'll be talking about, boy, did you hear what the pastor said this week in church? How are we going to flesh that out in our lives? Or how are we going to help our neighbor who's lost and doesn't know Jesus? And then you have those great communication times. Chuck Swindoll, the author and the pastor,
I love him.
He had a practice. He would write 500 words a day. Sometimes it was great 500 words. Sometimes it was a terrible 500 words, but he did 500 words a day. And this is the same premise. 15 minutes of uninterrupted conversation in a day will keep those communication lines open.
Speaking of pastors, Jay and Laura, a lot of times you see the pastors on the pulpit, they're always like acting like their marriage is perfect. And I think a lot of Christians sometimes they don't open up about the problems they're having and stuff, fear of like being judged as they're non-believers or they don't have enough faith and all that. How do you deal with that? It's just
I feel in a way I feel badly for pastors because they're in kind of a catch-22. We've had a number of pastors say to us, they'll call us, they'll book us, they'll start promoting the date night, and they will literally have parishioners coming up to them saying, "What's wrong with your marriage? You've booked this marriage thing. What's wrong with your marriage?" And it could be that there is something a little off because they're human, or it could be that I just see there's 35, 50 couples in our congregation who are on the brink of divorce, and I want to try and do something to stop it. So we try and give grace, but one of the things that we're working on right now, we've been interviewing a lot of pastors on marriage in the church, and not marriage in their church, but marriage in the church, big C, and asking the question, what do you think the state of marriage is in the American church? Not one answer was positive, not one. And some of them were quite frightening. One actually said they're hiding. Marriages are hiding. They're hiding from the truth. They're hiding from the fact that they don't have a healthy marriage. And, the bottom line is Satan doesn't want us bad. He wants us busy. Because when we're busy, we get distracted from the important things in life. And I think that you're married outside of Jesus, your marriage relationship is more important than your kids. More important than your job, more important than anything else. You got to get it right here. Right. And we don't always get it right, but that's what you strive for.
What do you do when the married couple, they have a child that may be special needs or a teen or an adult, and maybe there's no agreement on how to deal with that child? That's an extra stress on the marriage. How do people normally handle that?
That's a great question. And I think that they have an understanding of grace that the rest of us don't, because they are in a position where they have to be full of grace all the time.
And I would say there's a lot of situations in having a special needs child, or maybe your grandparents raising your grandkids because your children are addicts and can't take care of their own kids, whatever those situations might be. There's always help and hope from professionals. And I think too often in the church, we don't encourage people enough to get help from Christian therapists or Christian psychologists, whatever, to go to a counselor and have somebody that can walk you through situations that just the traditional marriage may not have to deal with. And having that help and having that support system is hugely important. And being a part of a group, we have friends in South Carolina that raise special needs children, and they have support groups. They are part of small groups that everyone in their group have special needs children, and to just be able to live life together and know that you're not going through it alone is hugely important. So I think it's really important to not be afraid. Don't shy away from getting help, professional help that can help walk you through those situations.
And here's just some, if I had the opportunity, I would do. We don't have anyone really close in our life geographically that has special need kids. We have friends all across the country that do. But if we lived close, I would work hard to become friends with that child, me personally, so that, and Laura as well, so that we could say to mom and dad, we'll watch Richie tonight. You guys go have a date.
Oh.
You know, I mean, how there's the rub for these people to have a normal night. We get people come to our conference all the time, whether it's special needs or their children are addicts, or maybe a child just committed suicide, and they will tell us, we haven't laughed in 6 months. I can promise you, I have not laughed in 6 months. And to sit here away from the problem for just a short little period of time, to be able to just take a deep breath and laugh and have fun, was a gift that we'll never forget. And I think we can give those kind of gifts to our neighbors and our family and our friends that are close, that we can step in and say, go take a date. In fact, here's $50, or here's a gift certificate, or whatever. Have the date on us. We're going to watch Richie so that you guys can go have some alone time. And I think if more of us did that, A, those special needs parents would be blown away and grateful, but B, the world would start seeing Jesus, you know, because those are Jesus moves. And the Lord shines through that stuff.
To those who are watching and listening, this is a great advice if you know a family with a special need child or someone to do that. That's really amazing. Question, and Laura, how do couples deal when one of the partners has depression and anxiety that wasn't revealed early on in the marriage?
Yeah, honey, how do you deal with that?
Jay does not suffer from depression, but man, he suffers from anxiety. And we didn't realize that till our daughter was suffering with anxiety, and realized that they're like two peas in a pod. And then he could identify that is exactly what he was dealing with, was anxiety. And you
Nazareth,
really have to...
I can't count how many times in our marriage this woman has talked me off the ledge, you know, and not, I don't, that was a metaphor, not in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, I'm overreacting. I'm catastrophizing the situation. I'm getting all up in my own head, and it's just going crazy. And she's got that calming effect. And I think, again, that's not a cop out, but that's a gift from the Lord that she has. And if you have a person, if you're married to someone and you can't be that person for someone, then you do need to find professional help. Because
I think he asked me, how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
I think that was what you did, was ask me.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to talk.
Okay, all right.
But you know, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So tell him, how do you deal with it?
You do have to realize that it is, we have, our neighbor is the president of our hospital here. And we were talking about, you know, as you do when you get with doctors and stuff, we were talking about, you know, if your liver isn't right, you have liver disease. If your heart's not right, you have heart disease. And it's the same thing when you have anxiety or you suffer from depression, you have a disease of your brain. And understanding that is something that your spouse can't always control. One thing I never understood about Jay early on was he would always say he has claustrophobia. I have claustrophobia, and I'm like, you're just a big wuss, whatever. It's not a real thing, blah, 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 blah. And we were on a plane. Whenever we fly, he has to have the aisle seat. And again, I just thought it was like some control thing. He had to have the aisle seat. And I always got the middle seat to somebody else that was sitting in the, in the window seat. So I'm always stuck between two people.
She's always stuck between two fat guys.
And I will never forget, they switched our tickets, and he ended up in the window seat. And then I was in the middle seat, and somebody else was going to be in the aisle seat. And he was going to totally not take the flight. I'm not going on that plane. I'm not getting on that plane. We're going to get different tickets. I don't care if we lose $500 each. Blah, blah. I mean, he just went off on this tear. And then I realized that this was a real thing for him. Yeah. That claustrophobia is a real fear for him. And it wasn't, I don't like tight spaces either, but, I'd love to do an escape room. He would never, ever, ever do an escape room. And it's the same with his anxiety. So you have to understand that these are real fears. They're real feelings. Whether you think they're real or not, it's because you don't have them. I don't have those anxious thoughts. I don't have, crippling claustrophobia.
But drive across a bridge.
Oh, don't
and
do
my
that.
hands have got to be on 10 and 2 or she's screaming at me.
And so we each have our own quirks. We each have our own things that we deal with. And so being the spouse, that you have to understand that these are real to your spouse. And you have to give grace, and you have to give mercy. and you just ask Jesus to help you say the right words and do the right things.
Yes. I know you guys wrote a book, 52 Ideas for Dating, which is I want to get to. But before I do that, can you guys explain to people what is the Celebrate Your Marriage event? What is it like? Because I know you say music and laughter and but what is it?
So we've actually got two different events. One is our Celebrate Your Marriage conference. It is held every year at Grand Hotel.
That's what Nazareth has been to.
On Mackinac Island here in Michigan. It's a summer-only hotel. It's only open in the summer. It's got the longest porch in the world, over 2 football fields long, overlooking the Straits of Mackinac, which is where Lake Michigan and Lake Huron connect. 400 rooms in the hotel, and every room is decorated differently. So you're staying in a unique. So it's just this beautifully romantic place, and that is a 2-day, 1-night conference where we bring in special
Mike
speakers.
Williams.
Pardon?
Mike Williams, not Nazareth.
No. You live in California, but nonetheless, and we basically, it's a 2-day party with your spouse that will focus you and your marriage on Jesus. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, mix in some great music, and
biblical truth.
And this past May, we had Dr. Gary Chapman, the 5 Languages of Love.
Yeah.
And guy's 85 years old and is knocking the ball out of the park.
Wow.
And so we'll bring in special guests. And then the other product that we have, so to speak, is what we call our ultimate date night. And we travel the country going to churches, and it's 90 minutes of music, comedy, and biblical content for couples. So we a lot of our comedy is based in music and in interaction with the crowd with music. And then basically we deliver the content. Once we've and you know this with your Laughter for All events, you get their hearts soft with the comedy, and then they're very receptive to the message, be it the gospel of Jesus Christ or marital truths. And so those are the two things that we do primarily. Stuff online that we do some coaching. We work with some churches, but the conference is really where the Lord gave us our start.
Good. Question: when a wife states she needs 15 minutes to get ready, how good is his math?
Say that again.
How good is his math? When a wife states that she needs 15 minutes to get ready, how good is his
Rita
math?
is a comedian, I think. Yeah, she is very funny, very
Better
funny.
be really good, and don't stop it at 15.
It's not
Give
15
her 30.
minutes.
Give her 30.
It's never 15 minutes.
And Chris Rossetti said his love language is pasta. Thank you, Chris. Okay, now the 52 date ideas. I mean, give us few if you don't mind, other than flying a kite or something like that.
One of my favorites, we actually got from a young couple we were talking to, and they have 5 children. I think their oldest one is now like 15, or she's 16 because she can drive. So they have 5 children. But when they were all younger and all in the house and they could never, get away to do anything, they said one of their favorite dates, they called it a driveway date. They have a pickup truck. They would put all the kids to bed. They would get in the back of a pickup truck with their lawn chairs and their beverages of choice, and they would turn on their music, and they would sit in the back of the truck in their chairs with their beverages and their music and watch the stars and talk. I just thought that was such a simple, free of cost, but yet a really romantic and great time of connection.
Another one that I like is what we call a drive to nowhere. And Laura is kind of an amateur, Laura's a very good amateur photographer. And so we did this a lot. We did this a ton during COVID, is you turn off the GPS, you turn off your phones, and you just start driving. And here in Michigan in the winter, a lot of times you can get some very beautiful scenery with snow crystals and ice and different things like that. And you just drive. And, whether it's for an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, and while it's amazing when you don't have a destination, how much conversation you can have as a couple in the car when you're just driving around.
I do that when I'm alone, because when my wife is with me, she tells me exactly which exit to get off. But what is your favorite, you guys' favorite date night?
Well, it depends on the season of the year here in Michigan. Right now, our favorite date is golf. We try and golf a couple times a week, and we work all day, and about 4:30, 5 o'clock, we shut down the office and we head out. It's just beautiful here in Michigan. So that is really our summertime date. Our wintertime date would be cooking. We love to cook together. And so we make a big production about going to the grocery store and getting what we need and picking out really good ingredients. And we find the recipe, we go buy the stuff, we come home and we cook. That really is one of the things we really have enjoyed doing. In fact, if you so desire, you could go on our YouTube channel and look up Married Flavors. It's something that we did for several years, where we would just turn on a camera and we would cook for people and give them the recipe in the comments. And something we hope to resurrect, because it was really fun and we really enjoyed it, and the people did too. But yeah, that's cooking is one of our favorite dates to do.
Laura.
So the other one that I like is what I would just call a spontaneous lunch date. Like if it's raining and kind of gloomy, or
we like food, obviously,
or it's Monday and we just came off the road, and we're wanting to just kind of do something fun. We've got a couple favorite restaurants that are not expensive. They're basically little dives, but they're here in our town and we love them. And I'll say to Laura, are you feeling Petticoat for lunch? It's a place called Petticoat Junction.
It's a truck stop.
It's a truck stop. But we love it because we can go there, get we split a club sandwich. And, it's just a little fun thing that we do together. It's not this big romantic thing, but Laura's love language is quality time. So if I suggest, hey, let's just you and me go out for a quick lunch, she's like, oh, you're the best man ever.
I don't say that, but
yeah,
it's implied.
She doesn't say that because her spiritual gift is sarcasm, and she would never want to say anything nice.
Laura, you have friends who are single, and when you talk about marriage and healthy marriages, or maybe they're divorced, maybe they've never been married, or how do you your excitement about marriage, and you're talking about marriage, but you have those single friends. What do you say to them? How do you encourage them?
I don't know that I have any.
Well, I do.
We have your single sister.
My sister's almost 60, and she's been single her entire life, never been married.
My brother is.
And her brother's divorced and single. The Apostle Paul was clear. If you're single, count it as a blessing. So I know
coming from a marriage coach, that's really surprising. That ruins your career, marketing.
But no, we have because we have close family that is single. We have to be sensitive to Mother's Day for my sister, because she's never going to be a mother. We have to be sensitive. We're going on vacation later this summer with her family, and Tom's going to be the only single guy there. And so we want to make sure that we don't, but what we can tell them is, it's just like people that are going through seasons in marriage. This season may be short, or it may be the rest of your life. We don't know, but we're called to make the best of the season that we're in, and to trust the Lord that He's got us in the season that He wants us in. And that's hard. That's hard news. I mean, there's nothing fun about that. But it is, it is the truth.
Right. Now, you wrote a book about fatherhood. I'm
sorry, I didn't hear you, Nance.
The book about fathers.
Oh, yes.
Dad night.
Yep.
Dad night.
The
ultimate
dad night. 75 activities for dads and kids. And the book is pretty cool. We broke it down into age ranges, price, time, effort. Is this going to take a lot of effort, or is it going to be pretty easy to do? And what we did was we map out the activity, and then we've got some questions that go along with the activity, and we call that closer to each other. So the dads got some prompts to ask the kids, so they're not just sitting there silent. And then we've got some prompts, and it's closer to God. So we take the activity and we make it not only about family, but about the Lord. And we wrote the book because dads operate best side by side. Men like to be shoulder to shoulder. That's why we have golf buddies. We have fishing buddies. We don't say to a bunch of guys, hey, you want to go get lunch together and sit around and talk? No, we don't do that. and that's nothing against that if that's you're a woman and that's what you want to do, but guys want to go do something together. And making memories is one of the best gifts you can give to your kids. So we wrote this book. It's a field manual for guys. You can just whip it out and go, okay, oh, number 16 looks like a lot of fun, or number 47 looks like a lot of fun, depending on your kids' ages. And my favorite 3 in the book.
Yeah.
I've got one for little kids. It is
birdhouses.
Building a birdhouse. You can go to a craft store and get birdhouse kits that are very simple to put together. You don't have to be mechanical. You paint them, you place them a place in your yard, and you watch the birds come. For the middle-aged kids, the 10 to 12-year-olds, we just call it ninja training. And you haul stuff out of the garage and you make an obstacle course in the backyard. And you time them and you have contests and you can see who does it the fastest. And then for the older kids, my absolute favorite one is axe throwing. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there are now axe throwing parlors all over the country. They're like bowling alleys. You have your own little lane, and they teach you how to throw the axe, and you have contests. And you know what 17-year-old is going to go, oh, this is boring. You know, I'm throwing an axe like you know, back in the olden days. And so it's a fun book. It's designed to help dads get creative and not just do the same old thing with their kids.
That's a great. I wanna order one. Is this on Amazon or should we go to Jay and Laura for that?
It's on Amazon. Yep.
But you can also go to Jay and Laura.
Yeah, I would rather. I always tell my listeners and viewers, go to the author's site and buy it. You don't want to go to Amazon and then you get $2 or $1 and they get the rest. So
25 cents.
25. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm doing better. Okay, so that's. What was your biggest fight in your 30-some years? What was that about?
Well, I can tell you our first fight, and then maybe we can think of our biggest fight. We were engaged, and there used to be a Bill Gaither, the musician.
I know him. Yes, I worked with him.
A program called Praise Gathering in Indiana.
Yep.
Indianapolis.
I did Indiana, actually. I did the convention center.
Yes.
Yep.
And we were engaged. It was the fall of 1984, and my parents thought it'd be great if all of us went to Praise Fest together so they could get to know Praise Gathering so they could get to know Laura better. So they rented a suite of rooms. So, you know, we weren't sleeping with each other. And we went to Praise Gathering and we went to a couple of the things. And then Laura and I said, you know what, we're good. We're going to stay back and relax in the room and watch some TV. Now, you got to remember, this is 1984. We didn't have many convenience stores back then.
At least not in the downtown Indianapolis area.
Downtown Indianapolis. And Laura has a penchant for chocolate. And so we're sitting here watching TV, and she said to me, I am in the mood for some Oreos. And earlier today in the hotel gift shop, I saw that they had some Oreos. Would you go get those? And because I'd like some. Being a good future husband, I'm like, you bet, dear. So I bipped down to the hotel store. This is 1984. There's 6 Oreos in the package, and it's $3.52.
Right.
Okay. $3.52 for 6 Oreos in 1984. I came back up to the room empty-handed. That was when the fight began. That was when the fight began. And the classic, so I'm not worth $3.52 to you. And I said, no, you're worth $1 million, but the Oreos aren't worth $1 million.
I realized then I was marrying a cheapskate.
Yep. So that was our first fight. And it was, I mean, doors were slammed. And it was, but I would say our biggest of those 3, money, sex, and family, our biggest fights or disagreements are about family. Raising kids,
boundaries with extended family,
and you know, the money thing. She's great with money now. She operates with a budget. Sex, we had some challenges early on because, like most men, I thought I was going to have sex every night, and you know, Laura wanted to have sex in June. But it was really.
You missed it.
When you bring kids into the world and you realize that you're coming from 2 different families that raise kids 2 different ways, and now you've got to mesh that, there were a lot of arguments about that. And then boundaries with primarily my side of the family, wanting to be overly.
They're just always there. They live 2 miles down the road. They're always there.
So that's what our biggest arguments are about.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge, family. A lot of people don't, understand that. It's like not.
It's because family is their family. You've got to love them. You've got to have them be a part of your life. But doggone it, they're crazy.
Right? Because you know what? Sometimes you have your family and you think they're normal. All your life you think that's normal. Then you have the spouse who's new, it comes from the outsider, and go, they do this, that's weird. They do that, that's wrong. They do that, and your first years is like, no, don't be talking about my family like that. But then after a while you go, I think you're right. I'm weird too. I do the same thing they do. And you're right. You said to put boundaries into the marriage to make into the family, the extended family, so they know what. Yeah, and I think for me and Maha, I think financial hardship in the beginning, and also being Middle Eastern family and all the family around, that's kind of drew us closer to each other. Because the minute I got married, my thing was my wife. I'm one with my wife. I'm on her side, right or wrong. Wrong later, we'll talk about it, but right or wrong, I'm on her side 100%. And that kept us, I have a great, I have to say, I have a great marriage. I love my wife so much. It's been almost 27 years. In August 10th will be 27 years. We're in love. We're great. We have great communication, and I give her the credit for that. But this is funny. We have 4 minutes left of the show, so I want Laura to tell the viewers who are, yes, Laura first, and then I'll get to you, Jay. There's ladies going in their marriage, they're hanging with a thread, and that thread is Jesus. They're waiting for the Lord to do something. It could be alcoholism with their husband, could be their whatever it is, they're walking away from the Lord. It could be anything else, maybe health issues. What do you say to these women who just give them some hope, Laura?
Well, I would say I said this earlier, if it's that you're married to an addict, or don't be afraid to go and talk to somebody. You need to have, and I'm going to say this, and this might be it probably shouldn't be your girlfriends. It shouldn't be somebody that knows your husband that you complain to. It needs to be somebody that's out of the situation, that you just have the freedom to say what you need to say, and have somebody give you some feedback as well. So if it's those kinds of situations, the really hard part, and it's not hard to say because it's the truth, is that you did stand before God and say, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. So when it's those little things and you just want to give up, that's one thing. When it's an addiction of any kind, get help and don't put yourself in danger. If there's danger in the home, that's one thing.
Right.
But other than that, you said for better, for worse. And so really clinging to the Lord, continue to lift up your husband to the Lord, to pray for your husband, whatever that might be. Pray for him and realize that, the Lord hears your cries and there is hope. We just have to take each day one at a time.
Right. Jay, what do you say to the guy that's like, I married the wrong woman, but because this is not what I was expecting from a marriage, but because my love for Jesus, I'm going to hang on. She doesn't respect me. She doesn't appreciate me. She doesn't do that. What do you say to that man?
Jesus is our model. Love her. Jesus loves her more than you love her. So love her like Jesus. Pursue her like you did when you were dating. Because there's probably a reason behind a reason behind her actions. She may be struggling with growing older. She may be struggling with, I'm a mom and I have no time for myself. She may be struggling with, I don't look like I used to look. She may just be struggling with, I'm struggling. And the more you can let her know that you are not going to go away ever, and that you're going to love her, the more she will soften and will, and I believe that goes both ways. The more we love, the more they will soften. Only God knows how long it will take. Only the Lord knows how long that softening will take. But He's made the promise that He is faithful, and we all we can do is love on Him.
That's awesome. Danette Sweeney said, Will said Laura still hard sometimes though, and then said you took that question right from my brain. That's praise God. Well, already Chris Rossetti here put www.jandlaura.com /store for merchandise, for booking, for finding ways to attend. I really encourage you, if you can make it to Mackinac Island, you should. It's amazing. It's good for your marriage. It's good for your soul. Do it. If you're a dad, order that book. I'm ordering it right now after this show. Get that book. Also, I'm gonna get the 52 with date ideas. That's always, because it's so good to have creative people like Jay and Laura to be able to give us ideas that sometimes you're too busy to even think about. So I love what you guys are doing for the Lord, for because God loves marriage, and you're two healers of the marriage. And I loved working with you when I still remember it. I love you guys were so gracious to me, and just you put an excellent event. This is state of the art event at a great hotel. It's not like one of those, let's get in one of those Holiday Inn banquet room
No.
and do this. This is state of the art, high end. So if you can be there, go there. Love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to be.
You bet, Naz.
Thanks for
Love
having
you
us,
too.
Naz.
And we'll
It's my.
anytime we can help you out, let us know.
Let me know. I would love to join you again. It would be great.
All right.
Thank you guys so much. All right, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to this. If you know a couple that really can benefit from this, can you share this? Can you subscribe to the podcast? That would be awesome. Also, I want to speak to you guys. I mean, normally, if your heart is for to see people come to Christ, and comedy is a way to do that. We've been so successful using comedy to soften people's heart. If that's something you want to partner with us and go, you know what, Laughter for All, you guys are doing great, renting arenas and theaters and putting free events and blessing people who can't afford to go to a concert, and then sharing the gospel, allowing to invite friends for free to hear the gospel. If that's something you want to partner with us, we can use it this time. You know me, I've for 7 years never asked for anything. But if you want to partner with us on this, I really encourage you. Just reach out to me directly, Naz at nazarethusa.com, Naz at nazarethusa.com, and say, hey, Naz, we need to talk. Let's have coffee. Let's do something. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, July 22nd, next in 10 days, 11 days, we will have our Laughter for All in San Bernardino, one of the hurting cities in California, a free event at the California Theater of the Performing Arts. There's about 300 tickets left. We have almost, this place seats 1,875 people. So get your free ticket at laughterforall.org. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Thank you. All right.